Hi, my name is Colin Graham. I'm the animation director of Watch Dogs 2, or Watch Dogs, as you said. So from Watch Dogs 1 to Watch Dogs 2, we had a really good experience to kind of read all the feedback from the fans and play the game for ourselves and just kind of figure out, well, what do we want to improve. So the key kind of core things were, we wanted to have a new character, so we got Marcus Holloway. It's the first time we had an African American actor as on a really big Ubisoft title as the main character. And Oakland, he's from Oakland, which is part of the Bay Area, which is part of San Francisco as sort of the greater Bay Area. So we just wanted to kind of create a new look and a new feel, a more fun and more vibrant city with a lot more diversity of culture. And we worked on a lot of the story as well too. A lot of people had some criticism about the story on Watch Dogs 1, so we decided to make Marcus part of DedSec, which is the hacker faction from Watch Dogs 1. And but this is the San Francisco branch. So these guys are they're actually like kind of crazy people, right? And they're a lot of the missions and the operations that they get up to are kind of based in who these characters and their personal history. And DedSec is really about Marcus and his friendship. So, we've got this guy, the Wrench, with the crazy mask. Well, the Wrench and Marcus have this really good, I say it's like the greatest bromance in gaming right now. And they just really care about each other. So I think that was an important part in having a really great story. We also focus on some of the core mechanics. We really improved the driving a lot. We put a lot of work into that with the Ubisoft Reflections team. And then we increased the number of ways that you can hack things in Watch Dogs. So you can hack cars, you can, but not just pressing a button and something happens, but we actually have directional control of the cars. The same thing with all the objects that are in the game. You have multiple configurations for how you can hack the objects, which means that you can set elaborate traps for your enemies and sort of take them down by combining different ingredients together. And you can also hack people. You have 4 contextual options to hack individual people, and you can do things like fabricate evidence against them and call the police. Or call a rival gang and have them taken out in a mob hit. And to sort of event that, we added the 2 drones. So we have a flying quadcopter and we have an RC jumper. And both of these devices basically allow Marcus to stay on the outside of an area or a danger area and actually go in remotely with his drones and do a lot of the missions in the gameplay like that. So in many cases you can complete a mission without ever being detected at all. You can basically play more as a ghost. And this is something you couldn't really do very well on Watch Dogs 1. A lot of times you just ended up sneaking around until you got into a firefight and it became a shooter. Well, we really embraced that and said, if you want to play as a ghost, we're going to let you play as a ghost. If you want to be a trickster and use your hacking to take out enemies, you can play it like that. And finally, the graphics. We worked really hard to improve the graphics from Watch Dogs 1 to Watch Dogs 2. And have a really well-rendered city of San Francisco, which is a lot more fun and vibrant, longer draw distances because you have a lot of more topology with high hills. So you can really see far off into the distance into the game. This gives you a sense of the scale of the Bay Area. But we also wanted to be sure to show the game in its real format. So when people are playing it online, if you see the videos that are on YouTube right now from all of the pre-release events, this is the final version of the game. This is how the game's going to look when November 15th, when you buy the game, you put it in your console, this is exactly how it's going to look. There's no change from that. Okay, so the hardest thing for us on the animation side was, we had two big challenges. We needed to kind of reboot Marcus a little bit from Aiden, so we wanted to focus on parkour. We put a little bit more work into having a better flow. But parkour is quite challenging because it's a combination of the worlds plus the technology to sort of understand how the character's moving through the world and then linking that to the animation system. We also had to do some new melee takedowns, so we have a very complicated weapon to animate, which is called the Thunderball. It's a pool ball on a paracord rope. Rope is a very hard thing to animate well. But anyway, we did a nice job with that. So Marcus has a new improvised weapon. But I think our biggest thing was on the living city. So all of the individual people have different types of reactions. and they react to the things that they see and to what other people do. And so it creates some very complicated chains of events. And so we had to work really hard to get believable human reactions, insults, cheering. They have people that are afraid, that will pacify the people who are angry. They have flirting. They have all these behaviors. They all kind of fit together into this sort of behavioral soup of the Living City, and that's a very complicated thing to do well, and we put a lot of effort onto that. But I think it's paid off. You see people playing around with the Living City online, and they're trolling people and getting into all sorts of fun, getting into fights and creating fun moments with the Living City. Well, San Francisco gave us a lot of opportunities to create an interesting living city because it is a very compact place. The downtown is a very compact place, so there's a lot of diversity just going block by block. So we had a big challenge to figure out how to create all the different people, with their different looks and their styles, the ethnicities, the profiles that they have on all of their cards, and their behavior models. They're a little bit different as you go place by place. So we had to create a lot of different variety, but it also made it easier for us because it was very clear, what should be done, like what the difference is. So if you go from downtown, you have people with business suits, you have a lot of tourists, and then if you cross over a couple streets, you're in the Tenderloin, and now you have junkies passing on the ground and doing drugs in the alleys, and just like, and this is what it's like really in San Francisco. And if you go a few blocks further, you're in Chinatown. If you go a few blocks further, you're in like the Haight-Ashbury, where you have all the hippies and the sort of the old classic San Francisco free love society. You go north, you have Russian Hill, where a lot of rich people live. And then if you go down to Silicon Valley, you have techies, you have the nerd core. They're a very, very different group of people. They have different behaviors. And we had to build all of that. And that's different than if you're in Oakland. If you're in Oakland and you insult somebody, you're likely to get punched in the face or worse. If you do that in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, they might just, get all scared and run away because they don't like confrontation. Some really good ones that I can't tell you on camera, unfortunately. Making a game is a lot of things. It's about creating a lot of funny jokes. There's a lot of inside jokes. There's some things that you try along the way that are funny to you, but then in real life you're like, I don't think that maybe a lot of people would find it funny. But one of the things I really like is learning the relationship between Marcus and Wrench. Along the way, we, Marcus is a character who comes from Oakland, and when we picked the city, the character came from that. So we cast this really great actor named Ruffin Prentice. He's a really talented young American actor who's starting to get pretty big on like network TV right now. He's got quite a few up-and-coming roles, and his personality, his personality kind of defined who Marcus was for us. And then we cast the Wrench. Well, originally the Wrench was a guy that we work with who has worked with us for years and years at Ubisoft, and we brought him in as a temp actor to play with Marcus. But he did such a good job, and the two guys got along so well that we just said, well, we're not going to cast somebody else. We're going to use this guy, Sean. And what happened was Marcus and Wrench became bonded, and Sean and Ruffin became bonded like actors. And this bromance, came out of the relationship between these two guys. And I think what really surprised us about that was when you have characters in the game that care about each other, we can care about them too. When they will fight for each other and they will sacrifice for each other to try to save each other over and over and over again, and they really put themselves out on the line and they show that they care, I think we care too. So it's not really funny, but it was a really rewarding moment to watch this relationship come through between these two characters, and I think fans could see that. For the future of Watchdogs, for the future of Watchdogs, I mean, personally, I like the systems that we built, and I'd like to kind of push them further. I think that Ubisoft has a vision for creating worlds. We call it World 2.0, and it's basically our vision is kind of expanded here into Watchdogs 2, where the world should give you multiple opportunities. People in the world should become more part of the gameplay. You should be able to spend more time interacting with the civilians and the people in the world. You should be able to have even more bigger impact on the world itself. Your story and the world story are inherently combined, and I think Watch Dogs 1 to Watch Dogs 2, there's a progression of that, and I'm certain in the future we will continue to expand on, our discipline of world building. I mean, this is what Watch Dogs does so well for Ubisoft, and I think we'll just continue to do that. So I just want to say hello to all the fans that play Reactor. It's good to be here in Mexico City. I had a great time, had some awesome tacos for lunch. You have now wrecked tacos in Canada for me forever. And I can't wait to come back. Hopefully all the fans will see you all online, and I'll be online November 15th. Come and find me and come and hack me if you can.